Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the TEC High School League. This is week number 3, and we're running a bit behind, so it's a pretty quick intro going forward. We're going to start here today with the matchup of Bishop Carroll Blue versus Greater Johnstown. And, well, I'm here with my co-caster, Lord Thethan. Thethan, how are you doing today, good sir?
Well, I've definitely seen better days, Joker. You can probably hear it in my voice, but man, I was not about to miss today's matchup. I'm so excited to see the Bishop Carroll Blue team versus the Greater Johnstown Trojans today. Lots of names that we're going to recognize, partially because they're all playing on the school account, so it's the, Carroll 1, Trojan 4. There's going to be a lot of familiar play styles that we get to watch today, and it's on more of this wonderful Overwatch 2 patch. More wonderful when we hit the November 15th mid-season balance patch, which I'm very excited for. But Joker, like you mentioned, intro is going to be quick today. We are jumping right into the game. Starting off on our first map of the day, going to be going to the downtown area of Busan.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong game. Wait.
No, we're in Busan. We're in Busan here. This is downtown, right?
Yes, yeah, this what I'm looking at least is downtown.
I am also looking at downtown.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you got Bishop Carroll, and they're going to be running out with oddly enough, Joker, not a kind of brawl style composition. Maybe there's a little bit of a brawliness to it. You've got Carroll 6 Aiden on the diva, but the rest of it is kind of this poke and prod style composition. I'm particularly fond of seeing Josh on the Kiriko here. I'm very excited to see what kinds of big things happen, what kind of damage dealing potential we're going to get to see from the support lineup today, especially with Olivia Carroll 3 on the Ana.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see here. Interesting enough that they're still opting to run the Genji, but that's going to start things off. Cherry Bloom with a nice first pick in this fight, as the Genji pick not biting them yet, as it is looking good for the side of Greater Johnstown for the time being. The Roadhog is just going to assert their dominance on the point, and, well, they're going to push them back to spawn and regroup for the time being.
Really good stuff there from River Galaxy for the Greater Johnstown Trojans, just really leaning into the lethality of that Genji pick to accrue not only some really meaningful picks, but also some considerable ultimate charge as well. Keep in mind that Game Genist over here for Greater Johnstown, the Lucio, has also been able to contribute to these fights. So you know that Greater Johnstown, none of them are sitting idly by in these fights.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Well, that's a big anti-nade coming in, however, as that's going to be huge. They're going to go right in on it. Kill 2, Tommy Yu taking down Zeke to start things off. They've got to pick back in their favor, however, but it's still looking good for Bishop Carroll at the moment. River Galaxy taking their own life with a Helix Rocket. That should be the end of this hold, as it's going to get up to 50% on the board. Maybe a little bit more now, as it does get up to 52%, but Bishop Carroll now have it in their favor.
Yeah, losing Zeke there was a really big hit there that the Greater Johnstown Trojans took. Ultimately, Bishop Carroll was really good to make sure that they capitalized off of that early pick. The fight could have still gone poorly for Bishop Carroll, but they're able to keep themselves in it, and they've got a couple of ultimates to spare for this next fight as well.
They do indeed, and looking for this to start off is, oh my goodness, Tommy, you almost going down early on. This self-destruct does come out and takes down Zeke, and that's going to wrap things up as the DMAC kills off Cherry Blossom. Cherry Bloom as well, as that's going to be a huge play. As Aiden going wild on point.
One of the things that I was thinking about as I was watching the previous fight was Aiden on the diva, and I was like, I really want to see Aiden leaning into the infinite damage mitigation potential that this tank hero has, just making sure that they're bodying all the damage they need for the team. But no, Aiden's doing all of the damage for the team there, at least in that last fight. But you got to watch out with the tactical visor there.
Yeah, the tac visor starting things off, and well, River Galaxy getting their counterpart out of this fight as well. Cherry Bloom finding a pick with that whole hog. as they get it back into the favor of Greater Johnstown. They're looking to get some more work done and keep this point in their favor for a lot of time. And well, with that DMAC onto Aiden, that should be all they need to keep that point in their favor.
I just realized that River Galaxy. Oh, that's a big pulse bomb right there. You've got Tommy. You opened up the fight with that.
Yeah, and then a rematch kill on to Cooper there. That's might flip right immediately back into the favor of Bishop Carroll, as they're going to be able to get all the picks they need. But still, they have.
You got to cap the point.
They've all gotten off, and it's getting up to 90% here for the side of Greater Johnstown. They finally get it up there, but it's up to 92 now, when it could have been at 80, 88, 89.
Let's keep in mind as well that this is the second remet kill that we've seen in this map for Aiden. You're coming up on the coalescence as well from Olivia for Bishop Carroll, and that has to be used to mitigate at least some of the damage that Zeke is going to be able to do. I'm sorry, that Cooper will be able to do with the Death Blossom.
Huge pick, taking down the Kiriko. There, Josh is out of this fight. The self-destruct is there as well, looking for the remet kill on the board, but it's not looking good for the side of Greater Johnstown. Cherry Bloom, however, is alive and well with the whole hog on the point, pushing them back. They might be able to hold on to this point just themselves to get this back into the favor of Greater Johnstown. The respawns are coming back, but Game Genix is now out of this fight. They need to keep the Mercy alive, but no. Zeke is out of this fight as well. It's not looking good for Greater Johnstown. The overtime bar is ticking down, and that should be it. The end of the hold, and that is round one going in the favor of Bishop Carroll.
I mean, you've got some really heavy hitters here on the side of Greater Johnstown. Whether it's Cooper on the DPS, you've got Brennan, aka River Galaxy, really putting on a great show as Genji. In fact, I was going to mention earlier that I was kind of surprised that they had swapped off of the Genji and onto the Soldier 76. Obviously you've got Zeke and Sean, but Bishop Carroll, there's a kind of collective participation that I'm observing in these fights where at any point in time, Aiden is dealing and mitigating damage. Josh and Olivia are both healing and doing damage, contributing. Each member of Bishop Carroll is contributing to the fight in their own way, in the way that the heroes they're playing best can. And that's something that's really impressive so far about Bishop Carroll, but we'll have to see if it continues into this next map type, or this next sub-map. Here on Sanctuary, I think that this is where the kind of off-angle, kind of run at them, brawl it into them play style of Greater Johnstown is really going to work.
Choice. Cooper has opted for the Junkrat, not something you normally see, but maybe it'll work out for the side of Greater Johnstown. They've got to do something. They've got to get something into their favor as a nice hook comes through from Cherry Bloom, but it is going to be traded out immediately. Olivia, it's taken down Zeke. So now both, it's a healer taking out another healer, and they do get the first cap, does Greater Johnstown, but it could be flipped immediately into the favor of Bishop Carroll with that pick onto the Mercy, as Aiden taking down Cooper there as well. It is still going to be traded out. It's still anyone's point, but the DMAC onto Aiden could be huge, as the TAC visor is now going to come out. River Galaxy looking to clean up the rest of Bishop Carroll and send them back to spawn for the time being.
I mean, that was just a really nice sequence of events there for Greater Johnstown. You got a great opening pick there onto I think it was Tommy Yu, and then onto, oh my goodness, yeah. But look at these picks rolling in for Bishop Carroll. Then once you get the DMAC onto Aiden, you're free to do whatever you want with the tactical visor. That's exactly what River Galaxy was able to do. Now,
when a big beat coming in from Game Genix, just trying to counter out the TAC visor from Carroll 5 there, and a nice hook comes through in response to shutting them down. Carroll 5 is Kenzie, by the way, as River Galaxy, not to be outdone, finding so much value with the Soldier 76 in response after a nice shutdown from their support line.
Yeah, really unfortunate shutdown of the tactical visor there from Kenzie. Although, you know, the way that they wanted to take that fight wasn't a bad one, and it did elicit the sound barrier from Game Genesis, which is a huge boon here for Bishop Carroll. It means that they're not that Greater Johnstown won't have anything to mitigate the Kitsune Rush from Josh or the Coalescence from Olivia.
Yeah, but it is going to be that Dragon Strike coming through early on from Tommy Yu. The self-destruct as well coming out, finding two. That's going to roll things, wrap things up. They did pop in the Kitsune Rush, however, as well. That is a little bit of over-ulting coming in from the side of Bishop Carroll there. So they have no ultimates to speak of going back into this next fight.
See, the thing about that, though, is that the ultimates that are being generated for Greater Johnstown are basically free win conditions, as I like to call them. Maybe the tactical visor might find itself mitigated by the defense matrix from Aiden, but the fact is that Trojan 1, Zeke, Cooper, coming up on this Riptire, once they get it, they'll be able to use it however they want. Gotta shut down this tac visor, though. Oh, no.
That was almost a huge play coming in from Tommy Yu, but River Galaxy finding so much value yet again with the Soldier 76, be it with the tac visor or just the vanilla shots coming through, as they're going to be able to force them back as well with the help of Cherry Bloom on this Roadhog, who has been almost unstoppable for the side of Greater Johnstown.
Olivia with a really good sense there to take out the supports before anything else, and it was the right idea. Unfortunately, there wasn't manpower on the objective for Bishop Carroll to help Olivia succeed in that. Now you have a last touch. You don't even have a last touch, Joker. We're moving on to the third submap of Busan. That'll be taking us to Mecha Base.
Yeah, they're doing really good now. It was definitely the difference in map type that really helped out the side of Greater Johnstown, I'd have to say. And now going into Mecha Base, this should help them yet again. But we shall see. If Cherry Bloom and River Galaxy continue to pop off like they were, I've definitely got to give the upper hand to Greater Johnstown right now.
You know, I think Downtown was a very back and forth map, but Sanctuary was a really good showing there from Greater Johnstown. Control Point in general, this game mode is really good for establishing that read on your opponents, that baseline. You know, how can I expect this team to play? And I think that both teams have at least identified how the other one wants to compete. Now the objective is getting comfortable with that and finding out what your lose and win conditions really are. So you don't really want this point to be captured early here by Greater Johnstown if you're Bishop Carroll. That'll repeat the last two maps.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you here. And while they're starting off early, I was about to say they are going to get that Mercy eventually, but Cherry Bloom started things off early on with a pick onto Olivia. As now they're going to be forced back. They've got this point control to start things off yet again, and Cherry Bloom is looking to continue to do damage as they do lose Cooper, but still looking good right now for Greater Johnstown. The sleep and the ante is not going to take down Cherry Bloom, who is on that Roadhog still, and it's going to work out well for them. They've got this point unlocked, and Bishop Carroll's just kind of feeding them all charge for the time being, unless they can get this pick. They do get the pick onto Zeke, but it's still not going to be enough to switch things over into the favor of Bishop Carroll.
And in the process of this whole fight as well, you've got River Galaxy. Brennan's working towards that tactical visor. Cherry Bloom's going to have the whole hog here, probably in the middle of the next fight. And Game Genesis already has a sound barrier for when the pulse bomb or the tactical visor get deployed from Tommy Yu or Kenzie both. Kenzie's got an incredibly difficult job right now. I've noticed a couple of times where River Galaxy will just kind of seek them out, deal with that counter Soldier 76. And so you got to respect how much attention Kenzie is drawing out. How much aggression she's drawing out from the
this could be a huge self-destruct. It is going to take down Game Genix, who had that sound barrier online, and the res is not going to be able to get there as Cherry Bloom anteed up as well. They're going to stay alive for the time being as River Galaxy's found two. They've got it back maybe into the favor of Greater Johnstown, but no, they're going to lose out. They're going to lose out River Galaxy thanks to Olivia and get that point into the favor of Bishop Carroll.
And it wasn't an expensive fight either, Joker. Bishop Carroll Blue, they only used the self-destruct there from Aiden, who's already nearly halfway to another one, which is absolutely wild. Now the name of the game is just to hold on to this objective for as long as possible.
Yeah, definitely, but it's going to be difficult. River Galaxy has this ultimate yet again online, and they've got a Mercy Pocket to boot, as they're going to be forced out to away from them, but they're in to the rest of the Greater Johnstown. This Pulse Bomb does come out, but it's not going to be enough after 3 with Attack Visor from River Galaxy.
No, and now the game goes from holding on for as long as possible for Bishop Carroll to retaking as efficiently as you possibly can. We saw him overcommit ultimates a little bit in one of the previous maps, and this is the point in the round where they now have no choice but to overcommit. Let's see what all they use here.
They've got to use something, and I expect that Kitsune Rush is going to be popped in, and it's going to start things off well for the side of Bishop Carroll. They've taken down Zeke, but they need more, and they need more quickly, and more they shall get. Carroll 5, Kenzie finding 2 with the Tactical Visor, getting it back on death's doorstep as the side of Bishop Carroll take the point back.
And I was really worried that Aiden was going to have to use the self-destruct there, but they're able to hold on to it as well. And yeah, really good attack visor from Kenzie there. And again, that's why I'm looking at the Soldier 76 matchup between them and River Galaxy. Is just it's going to end up being highly impactful. Oh no, what is Aiden doing?
Oh no. Aiden overcommitted and could not get the pulse bomb like they wanted to. That was a huge ante, but there's no one up there to respond any longer. As now they're going to come back. They've got another anti-nade, but the whole hog is now on the board from Cherry Bloom to push them all back. Get this point back into the favor of Greater Johnstown, and the overtime bar ticks down immediately as Greater Johnstown take map number 1.
Really good stuff there from both teams. Ultimately, Greater Johnstown just able to demonstrate that pop-off potential that each individual member of that squad has. I really enjoyed seeing the participation from all of Bishop Carroll. Ultimately, it's got to be participation in the right areas of the fight, right? You've got to be able to help Kenzie deal with River Galaxy on the Soldier 76. You've got to make sure that Aiden stays alive and in position at those crucial moments as well. You got to make sure that your supports are also contributing with damage to these fights as they are healing. So ultimately for Bishop Carroll, there really ain't much to clean up to get an edge over to Greater Johnstown. And that's a really good prospect because this next map is a great stage for them to put those improvements into action. Our next stage is going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar and all of its verticality and sunlight as well. It's a good looking map right now with the new lighting engine. Ultimately, Bishop Carroll at a little bit of a disadvantage here, but definitely not out of the series yet, Joker.
Well, it's funny that you say Bishop Carroll is at a disadvantage going into this map, which I don't think they are. They are at a disadvantage via map count, but going into this, with what we've seen from them, the verticality, like you were saying, it really has to go into the favor of Aiden in this tank matchup. And with Cherry Bloom, we've only really seen them be able to play Roadhog throughout this the first couple of weeks of the fall season. Their ability to change over to the Winston or a Diva could really, if they can't, it's going to be really unfortunate for the side of Greater Johnstown, because I really think they need to run a Winston or a Diva on specifically defense. You probably can get away with the Roadhog on attack, especially first point. But if they can't show that flexibility going into their defense and maybe throughout the rest of the map, it's going to be really hard for Greater Johnstown to win.
Well, and that's where Greater Johnstown may end up being a little bit more dependent on Zeke on the Mercy, with their movement abilities, and River Galaxy's flexibility between hit scan or playing the Genji, the more divey assassin type heroes. You're right. We aren't sure yet what to expect out of Cherry Bloom. Although Roadhog on Watchpoint Gibraltar is always fun to watch. I'm really excited to see some of the other adjustments that Johnstown makes for this particular map, and hopefully as well. What I'm hoping for here for Watchpoint Gibraltar is that Bishop Carroll is able to take this map just so that sends us into map 3. I don't have any bias towards either team. I just have a bias towards reaching the third map in the series. Because Joker, you and I haven't been able to cover push yet. I don't think we've covered push at all in this season of TEC High School League Overwatch, and so I'm ready. I'm chomping at the bit to get to that map 3, and I think that these two teams, pretty evenly matched as they are, I think that this is a great series to help us get to that point. But Joker, before we get to map 3, we got to get through Watchpoint Gibraltar first. Bishop Carroll will be opting for the defense for their first round. And this is where Aiden on the Diva, which you mentioned, is going to be incredibly important, even on that first and that third objective, where the kind of brawl playstyle is able to get a little bit of credence. So I'm really excited for Bishop Carroll to just increase their level of awareness for each other as these fights break out, and that'll give them a pretty considerable edge on this map.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to see. I really want to see Winston. Winston is meta. Winston is meta, and I want to see some Winston gameplay here, Ethan. But you know what? I don't think I'm gonna see it. I think we're gonna see more Diva and Roadhog. But Winston.
Well, Joker, that's why I'm excited for November 15th, because he ain't meta for us yet, and not for the players who toil in the trenches of this game. He meta for Overwatch League, which is I think their playoffs begin here in about 45 minutes or so, or this day's games in the playoffs are going to get started soon. And yeah, no Winston. I'm so sorry, Joker. He's so much fun to watch too. I love watching some good Winston gameplay. But
well, how am I supposed to watch Winton jump?
Winton zap, Winton jump, Winton nap. Wait, I don't remember what it was. It was a fun one though. It's a little phrase. No, it's back on the Diva, back on the Roadhog. I'm surprised to see basically no changes from Greater Johnstown. Just from a quick glance, I'm not entirely confident that is the call. But we've seen Greater Johnstown do some pretty incredible things with some less conventional strategies before. I'll tell you what, one thing that I really like is Kenzie on the Torbjorn and Tommy Yu on the Reaper, both particularly powerful heroes in their own right.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, as Torbjorn just is such a good hero to mitigate flankers, and that's what River Galaxy is going to look to do here on that Soldier 76. Almost getting a first pick in this fight, as almost a nice hook coming in as well from Cherry Bloom on the Roadhog, as now they're going to collapse on to said Roadhog, take them out. But they are still getting a good amount of percentage on movement on the cart for the time being. They've got it hunkered down, but taking out the supports as they are at the moment will enable Bishop Carroll to take this first fight.
Yeah, for Watchpoint Gibraltar first point, you always kind of compartmentalize it into two fights, essentially. One fight where you push the payload underneath this valley here, and then that second fight where you push it around that last corner, get it into its first point resting place. So, not a bad call from Greater Johnstown, just lose the fight but push as far as they can. Now they're going to have to win this next fight, or at least win a fight before this payload backs up all the way to the beginning of that valley again. It's a fight to win here for Johnstown as well, especially since Josh is gone.
Yeah, this is the fight to win indeed, as River Galaxy is now going to have that tactical visor online. And, well, they've already taken down one, looking for some more, but it is going to be Cooper finding two with their concussion mines. And they're going to force them back, take out Carroll to Tommy Yu, and that should be the point for Greater Johnstown.
It should be. We've seen some wilder contests of the objective, but not this time around. It's going to be Bishop Carroll possibly forcing a close fight here at the gate.
They might be. I don't think that is a wise. Letting them get a little bit farther away from their spawn is always the best case, as the tire to come out did not find the value they were looking for, but now the self-destruct coming in from over the top, looking through for the sound
Really good sound
there in a response to keep everyone up and healthy. But it's still looking good for the side of Bishop Carroll, as the Molten Core comes down, finds everyone they need, and sends them back to spawn.
Oh man, Olivia stepping in with that final blow onto River Galaxy, which prevents Kenzie from getting the 5K. A little unlucky, but again, goes to show you the level of participation in these fights that all of Bishop Carroll is utilizing. You've got the Transcendence as well from Josh, opening pick on a River Galaxy. I don't think that this fight goes the way of the Trojans.
Well, they do get the res there, and Zeke is still alive, so they could still force this out, and they're gonna might be able to get this DMAC on to Aiden, which would be huge. The Amp Matrix does come out from Olivia there, the Death Blossom as well in response to push them back, and that is gonna be the picks they need to push them back to spawn for the time being, as Greater Johnstown have to reset.
Really good mid-fight clarity there from Tommy Yu to use the Death Blossom there in a situation that was very losable there for Bishop Carroll, and that ultimately won them the fight. I mean, that's the kind of pop-off potential that we've been seeing so far from Greater Johnstown. So it's really cool to see these teams begin to emulate each other's highly aggressive play style so far.
As they're going to look to get through here now. They are pushing back for Aiden for the time being, but now they're going to collapse on to Cooper, who was all alone with no support. And that is a major amount of damage now gone for Greater Johnstown, and they're going to have to reset. They don't have Game Gen X any longer. The self-destruct comes through as well. They're losing people all the time, but while they're losing people, they're not using ultimates, and that's going to be huge. Oh, wait, maybe they did. They used their TAC visor there, Ethan.
I didn't even notice it either. I think River Galaxy probably got shut down like as soon as they had gone for its cast, which is a little unlucky. But at least you're coming up on the whole hog and the sound barrier from Cherry Bloom and Game Genesis. So between Brennan and Sean, Greater Johnstown is still looking pretty good for this fight. They got plenty of time in the bank as well.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do indeed, as Aiden is super low, looking to try to get out, but that's not going to be possible with the amount of damage coming out from the front line of Greater Johnstown. And another nice hook coming in from Cherry Bloom there. They're going to look to take out this Reaper, and they might have be able to push this cart full sail all the way to the point here. As a nice hook comes through yet again. Cherry Bloom on this Roadhog. I was questioning it, but it's still working out well, and they're making the switch over. Aiden now mirroring the Roadhog pick of Greater Johnstown, because just how well Cherry Bloom has been doing on this hero, and they get the point.
I mean, Roadhog is just a phenomenal enforcer for the agenda of any team. And definitely in this one tank era of Overwatch, mirroring whatever the other tank is doing is not often the worst call. So I am excited to see Aiden's Roadhog here. Really brilliant shutdown of the Riptire as well from River Galaxy there. It's going to elicit the Coalescence here from Olivia, see what they can push with it.
Oh, Tommy, you didn't know they were being stalked from behind. As River Galaxy finds the first pick in this fight. The res is there as well. River Galaxy trying to stay up and healthy. The whole hogs are coming in from Aiden there, as that should be able to push them back for the time being. Cooper is gone, as well as Game Gen X. They do get the pick on their opposing onto Kenzie there. The Transcendence is there, keeping them up and healthy, as Bishop Carroll are going to be able to hold on for the time being.
Cherry Bloom taking quite a considerable amount of damage before being dispatched there. For now, it's just a cleanup here from Bishop Carroll. They've stabilized, and now they just need to make sure that that those latter stages of the fight, they were able to generate whatever ultimate that they needed to and dislodge any enemy positions as well. That is from Greater Johnstown, who are coming into this fight with a Valkyrie and a whole hog. You combine the two with a little bit of damage amplification, and you're looking at a team wipe.
Well, Cherry Bloom has had this whole hog for the past two fights, have not used it yet, as Cooper has swapped over to the Reaper, but they're already out of this fight as they got a little bit overzealous. It is still looking good, however, for Greater Johnstown. They've got all the picks they need, and as well as the res onto Cooper, they're going to be able to push forward, but this pesky little Moira in the back line is keeping the cart from moving whatsoever, and it's going to give time for Bishop Carroll to get respawns back.
I mean, that was marvelous. Olivia's got the moves and the
Ooh.
jukes for days. Really expert bubble cast there into Tommy Yu as well. It saved him from a lethal instance of damage. Now he can go for the Death Blossom.
Oh, and the sound barrier was a little bit too late to keep everyone up and healthy. River Galaxy does take down Tommy Yu, but it is going to be a little too late as they're going to have to go back to spawn. As, oh no, River Galaxy trying to turn it back. They're going to pop the attack visor, find one. Well, I mean, you didn't really have much time to do anything else, so it was not a waste, but still not the value you were looking for with that attack visor.
Oh yeah, definitely. But kind of like you mentioned, it's a moot point of whether to save or use it. You don't have a choice. You gotta see if you can swing something there. Ultimately for River Galaxy, just kind of one more onto the kind of the tactical visors that haven't gotten River as much, and so this is where, for as good as Soldier is on Watchpoint Gibraltar, I would really love to see a swap onto the Genji or maybe the Sojourn, powerful as she is right now, or perhaps there's a gentleman's agreement between all the TEC High School League teams saying no Sojourn because she is kind of busted right now, but not to say that River Galaxy consistently hasn't gotten value out of these visors, but rather that I think that there's a lot of value that they could attain just by playing another hero. But Soldier 76 is one of my favorite characters, and he works on a lot of maps and in a lot of situations. So River Galaxy, to help Greater Johnstown push that 73-meter distance, or I'm sorry, to prevent that 73-meter distance from being accomplished here by Bishop Carroll as they mount their offense. I think it's a relatively straightforward endeavor.
I wasn't even thinking about Sojourn until you mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, wait, why aren't they playing Sojourn?
No one's playing Sojourn.
Which is just incredible to see. Like you said, incredibly busted at the moment as Cooper trying to get out of harm's way, and they do. They get back to their team and have gotten Aiden very low and already out of this fight into their Baby Diva form. They are going to get Discord Orbit, but not going to really matter at this point as the side of Greater Johnstown are going to be holding on after a nice first team wipe.
I do love seeing Lucio kills in the feed. One of the best duelists in the game, and game genist that is Sean is making Lucio work really well so far for Greater Johnstown. It's no surprise. Lucio is one of the best healers in the game right now, but definitely making waves of impact here for Greater Johnstown. That is game genist proficiency on this hero. Cards barely moved as well, so Bishop Carroll have to find a way to get a little bit of progress here in this next fight.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Goodbye, Cooper.
Cooper's out of this fight already, thanks to some damage of their own. But the rest of Greater Johnstown are going to be able to pick up the slack that was there. They're going to be able to find the picks they need. Looking to take out Olivia without having to use this tack visor. A nice kill before the remake comes through onto Aiden, as they're going to have to force back and go back to spawn as Bishop Carroll.
Yeah, really good patience there, because if you're like me, you like to hit your ultimate as soon as you get it. So really good patience there from River Galaxy to save their ultimate. Really good for Bishop Carroll in particular, because now Josh has the Transcendence in case it gets procced, but they're gonna have to respawn before they can use that ult.
That's huge. The res denied coming through here. The tack visor coming in response, and they're going to be able to take down Kenzie early on, looking to take out Olivia as well. But no, that's not going to be the case. The sixth man on the field, the turret, finding the picks that they needed in that in their finest hour. It is down to a minute and 45 seconds as Trojan 4 Zeke is going to get a little bit over aggressive. Go down before the fight even goes underway. Right now, it's still at anyone's point, but the Transcendence is going to be huge for Bishop Carroll. They're going to be able to stabilize, but no, they're still going to lose Aiden. That's not what you want. Cherry Bloom coming back, finding all the picks they need to keep this cart in the favor of Greater Johnstown.
You got Tommy Yu going for the same kind of moves and juice that we saw from Olivia earlier. I think ultimately it's kind of just a glorified stagger there for Bishop Carroll.
Yeah.
Just buys a little bit more time here for Greater Johnstown to evaluate how they want to maintain their defense, and look as well how close they're holding to the objective. They are not willing to yield this first point, even to a snake-like endeavor of the C9. Someone gets on it before the defending team can notice. Interesting bomb cast. Let's see what it gets.
That almost was a huge play. They almost got Zeke out of this. The nano boost is going to be coming in as well. It needs to get a pick, however, and they do get Cooper out of this fight, but they also have lost a player of their own. But Bishop Kaler are up on this point. The Molten Core is around and about the point, and that's going to be huge to mitigate anyone really being able to touch, and they do get this first point.
Really good capture there from Bishop Carroll, and just in the nick of time there as well, they're able to hold on to the tactical visor there from Tommy Yu. So, you know, back in Overwatch 1, it wasn't too complicated to stymie attackers on this second point. And I almost anticipate Greater Johnstown to be able to do that massive anti-nade there leading to the death of Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke is going to go down. They're going to look to take out Aiden before they can get away, but that's not going to be the case. River Galaxy does pop their tactical visor to open things up, but it's going to be eaten up all by the D.Va defense matrix. No value as well coming out from the Riptire of Cooper, but it's still looking good. It's anyone's point, but it does seem like Bishop Kaler on the back foot, having to regroup for the time being.
Yeah, just for now, and this is where you start to get into that dangerous territory. You know, as far as whether you get stonewalled here on this second objective. So Bishop Carroll, I really want to see them path up to the high ground, to these catwalks, and utilize these wide open areas to help enable Tommy Hugh and Kenzie with these long range heroes. But for now, they're just going to path main. They got ultimates to justify this positioning.
They do indeed here, as they're going to look to get things underway. River Galaxy looking for an assassination, but no, they're going to be the ones taken down. Aiden coming in through and strong. They are going to get the res, but the self-destruct is there, and it's going to find 3. That's huge. All they need. The Molten Core as well being used, but it's just as a defensive metric to not touch the point, as the side of Bishop Carroll complete point number 2.
And once again, in relatively inexpensive fights as well. They hold on to the tac visor. Josh still has the Transcendence as well. Stagger eliminations there onto both of the supports. Well, really more onto Zeke. Sean, GameGenix had the mental wherewithal to know to throw themselves off the ledge so they can reset with the rest of the team. But this is, even despite the picks here from from Cooper, it's still kind of a stagger there from the Junkrat.
Oh, a nice play coming in. Cherry Bloom might have changed things around to get this, to at least get it even for the time being, as now they have to wait for Kenzie to come back from spawn to really initiate this next fight here.
It was kind of funny to see Kenzie just hammering on the turret and then unwittingly getting hooked. But you're right, kind of a stagger. Limited time remaining here for both sides.
They need to find something, and they need to find it now. It's going to be an alt fiesta any second now, as Tommy Yu pops their own tactical visor, looking for some picks, and they do get one. There is one in response coming in from River Galaxy, but the Transcendence is there. They're going to be able to stay up and healthy after only losing Tommy Yu, but there is still so many ultimates on the board for Greater Johnstown right now. They should not lose this fight. The Sound Barrier coming in response to keep River Galaxy up, but they have already lost him. They've already burned through that extra health. The Riptire coming through. They need something, and they need something in fast, and they do. They find 2 picks onto the Torb and the baby D.Va, but it's still anyone's point here, Ethan. No one has found the upper hand, but River Galaxy now finds 1. They need to find another, but Aiden and everyone else are coming back. This could be our map 3 that we've been waiting for here.
Wait, Joker, I think it is. I think it is the map 3, unless you can get a touch here with the Valkyrie.
The Valk touch is going to be there, but for how much longer? The respawns coming back need to be huge. They need to be decisive. They need to get a pick now as they don't find anything. River Galaxies come back from spawn. They're on the Foro, but the Torbjorn turret is tracking them, taking them down. It's just the Lucio left, and that's going to be it. Map number 3, finally, Ethan. Map number 3.
I'll say this, Joker. I think we ended up getting to map number 3 earlier this season than we did in the previous season. I think last year it took us a very long time to get to map 3, but this is phenomenal, Joker. A marvelous thing has just been witnessed here. We are heading onto the push game mode for the first time here on the Esport Company Twitch channel.
Yeah,
wonderful day.
And it's one of the maps I don't actually know. I've never.
I love this map.
I haven't seen Esperanza. I haven't really been keeping up with Owl this year. Unfortunately, I've been very busy or very tired. So, but I'm very excited to see this. It's my first time seeing the map. So, hey, first time seeing map number 3. First time seeing this map for me. This should be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've warmed up to the game mode. I think that there's still probably clips out there of me on a podcast talking about how much I despise the map design. Back when the beta was out, how much I despised the map design of the push game mode. But in practice, in my Joker, I've been very busy as well. I'm already like tier 145 on the battle pass. I've been grinding away. So I played this next map plenty of times. It's a map called Esperanza. And I think out of the 3 push maps we have right now, which is Esperanza, Coliseo, and New Queen Street of Toronto, I think that Esperanza is the one most tolerable to me. I'm not a big fan of Coliseo. I don't really care for New Queen Street right now because it's so good for Zarya in particular, and I'm tired of her. But Esperanza is really good for catering to a myriad of different play styles. You've still got those really long, straight angles that I kind of don't like so much about Coliseo, but it's interspersed with some nice back alleyways, some indoor corners, and in places where you could see a lot of the heroes that we've seen today so far from Bishop Carroll and Greater Johnstown finding a lot of success. So heading into Esperanza, very excited for this game mode. A quick rundown of the push game mode, since this is the first time ever that we're seeing it here on here in the TEC High School League Overwatch. There is a robot. I think his name is Timmy.
It's bot.
On the push bot in the middle of the map, and there are barricades on either side. Your job is to escort your barricade as far as possible or to the end of the map here on Esperanza, and prevent the enemy team from doing the same thing. After 10 minutes, whoever has pushed the bot further or their barricade further wins, or the team who pushes all the way to the end, those 2 little golden points at the top of the HUD there, wins the map, which can be as short as either team would like. But I'm excited, Joker. I'm so very excited.
Me too. And there's your favorite character right there coming in from Aiden, Zarya being
I hate her so much.
Love Zarya. Love
Bishop Carroll's playing meta right now. This is wild.
Perfect.
Oh, except for the Sojourn.
Yeah, put a Sojourn in. Hey, we're meta central, and then the side of Greater Johnstown are just being practically playing chaos. This is especially with the change of Genji coming that I believe went through.
Not yet. November 15th.
November 15th it comes through. But so it's still good at the moment, but right now it's looking good for Greater Johnstown. They've got the upper hand. They've got the overwhelming damage, especially with the Zarya on the point. But right now, it's anyone's point. They did lose Cooper early on, and as well, Aiden getting all the picks they need. It was a supercharged Zarya. They're going to be able to unlock this first progress with the bot.
It's so unfortunate for River Galaxy there, dying twice in the fight, and I totally empathize with it as well. One of my players over at UB, a Genji player, has stated multiple times how much he dislikes playing against a Zarya with even a little bit of charge. So it's why we see River Galaxy opt out of the Genji, who is still good, like you mentioned, but onto a hero who might do a little bit better. The Pharah with Zeke on the Mercy means that Greater Johnstown has a lot more consistent damage. It's a little bit harder for River Galaxy to die in these fights. Really good thing here for Greater Johnstown.
Well, they're going to have to get, they do find a first pick already in this fight. Kenzie gone and out. And it is going to get flipped back for the time being. Obviously, not for that long. But River Galaxy on this far is just a nuisance right now. They really don't have anything to deal with it besides Kenzie on the Soldier 76. And being taken out early. Oh no, that's not what you want if you're Aiden. You had you had one of the best ultimates in the game, the Graviton Surge, and you just throw it out in desperation.
I almost wondered if it was because Aiden wanted to swap onto the D.Va, but that ends up not being the case. So they're going to stay Zarya for now, which still isn't a bad call. Look at this. This barrage that River Galaxy has, they built it before that fight had concluded, which is absolutely wild to me. It's pretty conventional Pharah play right now, where you're going to be able to build your ultimate extremely quickly. So we'll see how that barrage comes into play, and if Josh's sound barrier can mitigate it. But I don't know that my hopes are high for Bishop Carroll for this fight. Probably in the next.
Yeah, definitely not, as they're going to be able to overtake the lead for the time being. But River Galaxy is starting things off yet again, one with a vanilla kill and then two with the barrage to continue this push forward on the push map and get this forward spawn.
Yeah, so that's another thing that we didn't get to cover there earlier, Joker, was that once you get the push bot, your barricade about halfway down your course of the map, you do unlock a forward spawn. Means you don't have to walk as far to re-engage in these fights after you get picked off. So that's going to be a huge advantage here for Greater Johnstown. The thing is, it might not even come into play because none of them have been dying so far, not very frequently. So we'll see if that changes this fight.
Well, the Tommy, you're going to go into the backline with the Death Blossom, and they are going to be able to get the bot back into their possession. River Galaxy looking to find something going, but Olivia is going to, Kenzie going to take them down after Olivia is fallen.
That's a really good fight there for Bishop Carroll. They're able to, they use a couple of their ultimates. They're able to hang on to the rest here. Aiden is well on his way to that next Graviton Surge. But look, River Galaxy already has another barrage.
Yeah, and they're going to be taken down immediately. River Galaxy knows their target prioritization. Take away the hit scan and then use their barrage, finding one as well. Aiden out of this fight, who was that second most deadly to them at the time being. And they are going to look to finish things out. They've got another pick as River Galaxy. Looking for more is the rest of Greater Johnstown, but it is going to be River Galaxy fighting that pick there onto Josh, as the bot's back in the favor of Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, and so that means that these next couple of fights are going to be very back and forth. For every fight that Greater Johnstown loses, they're going to have another fight as an opportunity to push even a little bit further. And that's the situation that Bishop Carroll are in right now. They've secured an early pick, though, 2, which is really good for them.
Yeah, that is huge. That is huge indeed. The forward spawn is going to be there, but it is back into their favor. That is a quick change over back to the side of Bishop Carroll.
Cherry Bloom's just running. Just trying to get out as fast as possible. They might end up getting staggered here, but even if they do, I don't think that is too bad because River Galaxy has reconnected this fight, and that's really your big win condition for Greater Johnstown.
Well, it was the old it's feint tactic, run away and then go into River Galaxy, finding picks already for the side of Greater Johnstown coming back from spawn, as now the side of Bishop Carroll have to retreat.
And this is where I might expect Aiden to play the D.Va instead of the Zaryas, just to give Kenzie a little bit of space here on the Soldier 76 to deal with this Pharmercy. They're going to still proc the Tactical Advisor here, gets a bubble, gets one pick, which is really good start here.
That is huge, but the barrage is going to come through. They find out Aiden. Cooper is on point. They are going to fall down. Olivia trying to stay alive on point. Not going to be able to, as River Galaxy and Cherry Bloom clean up the fight for Greater Johnstown.
And that was really a fight that could have gone either way there. So it's still impressive to me that Greater Johnstown was able to come back out of it. See if that Blossom gets value. It does. Kills Zeke there. There it is onto Sean.
Nice. Death Blossom coming through, and then Aiden popping the Graviton Surge to Kit as the maximum amount of value they possibly could, as it's back. Bot is back with Bishop Carroll.
So now what this means is Bishop Carroll is confronted with the challenge of winning several consecutive fights, which is actually more difficult than it sounds here on this game mode, especially when you have to contend against a Pharmacy playing in your backlines.
Yeah, as they're going to look to start things off. Tommy Yu looking to take down Game Genix. They do lose Zeke early on in this fight, and as well, they've lost River Galaxy. It's not looking good for the side of Greater Johnstown, but the whole hog comes through looking to take away Aiden before anything can really go, but that Zarya just pumps out so much damage as they're going to have to fall back and retreat.
I mean, just absolutely massive bubble that Aiden was able to proc there, and that's part of why Zarya is so oppressive right now. It's just not only her damage is insane, like you mentioned, but Zarya's sustain is ludicrous as well. Needless to say, you're going to be able to cut through that sustain with River Galaxy's upcoming Rocket Barrage and Cooper's Riptire as well. That's so much burst damage. I don't think either of the ults here for Bishop Carroll can mitigate that.
Yeah, I don't know, as they're going to pop this barrage early on, but they've only get one pick in that fight. It was a huge shutdown from Kenzie, as now they're going to pop their own Graviton Surge to get the picks they need. They've gotten everything to continue to push forward. They've got this Riptire to come through, and they've lose out Aiden. That's huge. River Galaxy as well coming back from spawn. It is almost to where the barrier got for Greater Johnstown, but it might not be get there quick enough, as River Galaxy back from spawn finding the pick on to Kenzie as well as Josh, as the bot is in Greater Johnstown's favor.
This is not a bad thing here for Bishop Carroll to yield the objective at that point. And so essentially, again, they have to win several consecutive fights, but they have about a little over a minute to do so, and they still have the coalescence to work with.
Yeah, they do indeed here, but is that going to be enough? There's a minute left on the clock. The contest is going to come through. But River Galaxy already in the back line, finding the barrage picks as they do go down to the coalescence, but the res is going to be there. They stuck the landing to keep them in the fight, but no, it's a huge Death Blossom coming in from Tommy Yu, getting the point back into the favor of Bishop Carroll, and it is down to 40 seconds, and this could be over if with one fight went from Bishop Carroll.
I think most meaningfully here for Bishop Carroll is that Kenzie has the tactical visor, and the only ults to speak of here on the side, well, there's a considerable amount of ults to speak of on the side of Greater Johnstown, but if you time that tactical visor right, you are securing a win here for Bishop Carroll.
They need to take down Kenzie, and they need to take them down quickly. But no, they're going to find the pick on to Zeke.
Huge
That's
pick.
huge. There goes out River Galaxy. There's no revive as well available, but a huge play coming in response from Cooper on this Junkrat. They've taken down Kenzie. They need more, and they need more quickly. Aiden is so high charged right now. It should be all Bishop Carroll looking to get this first win of the season. They take down Zeke. They look for some more. They take down Cherry Bloom as the bot is now pushing. Is anyone going to be able to touch? It does not seem to be the case, as Bishop Carroll take the map and the series and get their first win of the season.
In a pretty spectacular turnaround as well. They looked good there on Busan Downtown, a little bit less so on Sanctuary and Mecha Base. They managed to turn things around in their favor on Watch Point Gibraltar with a really good push and a really good hold. And now coming back into Esperanza down for most of the map and managing to clutch it out there in those last couple of fights. And, it's the first time that we've seen the push game mode here, Joker, but at least in my experience playing it in the first competitive season of Overwatch, that's how push goes sometimes. Yeah. Really, really good push, pun intended, from Greater Johnstown in this series, and great demonstrations of some really nutty teamwork, some really awesome individual play styles. Ultimately, again, Bishop Carroll, the advantage that they had is, and I think you probably noticed this, Joker, anytime there was a support in one of their sight lines, Bishop Carroll went right after that support, severed the lifeline there, and that was a massively meaningful thing.
You pretty much had to, especially since it was such a lower base heal comp coming in from Greater Johnstown with that Lucio Mercy. Whenever you lost the support, you pretty much lost the fight. And it was good. They the side of Bishop Carroll knew their win condition and they capitalized on it. And that's why they won the series out.
Yeah, but this is only one of two series that we get to watch today, Joker. So, we'll be back here in a moment. Be sure to stick around because we got one more match coming at you.
Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. It is time for the second map of our match of the evening. We are here now with with Winber versus Forest Hills, and Forest Hills was our grand champions from the last season of the TEC High School League, but not a lot of people are still around from that team anymore, Ethan.
No, but it hasn't prevented Forest Hills from staying, I think, in the lead in the standings so far. So it definitely is still a very competent squad. A couple of names that we'll recognize: Bloodhound, Devo, JB Baumel, but the Winber area Ramblers. There's a handful of names that we recognize there. So I'm very excited that, with the changes that came into Forest Hills, does Winber stand a really good chance in these impending maps, or is this really just going to be an opportunity for them to continue refining their individual play styles or their team-wide strategies? I guess there's only one way to find out. That's going to be by hopping right into our first map of the day. It's going to be going back to Busan, that control point game mode. And I think I'm going to take a wild guess. Sanctuary is our first map. Oh, I was right. Sanctuary is our first map.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. As we're just gonna wait to see. If we call back to last year, we remember Forest Hills running meta pretty much a lot of the time, unless they were already up, and then Flip Stingray would just play whatever. Or oh my goodness, I can't remember the other guy's name. Kaede. They would just do whatever they really felt like doing. But right now, Bloodhound on the Junkrat is not something that I would expect to see. I'd more or less expect to see a Sojourn or a Soldier coming out from Bloodhound, but maybe they still got time to swap.
Yeah, still a little bit of time. It's kind of funny. Junkrat is a little bit slept on. He's definitely a real pub stomper of a hero, and isn't quite the same caliber of strength and team play. But in the TEC High School Overwatch League, the Junkrat, you're going to find it getting a lot of value, just like it did in our previous series between Bishop Carroll Blue and Greater Johnstown. First fight already breaking out here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Well, Bloodhound is going to find this first pick into the fight. Garrett now no longer there. The res is going to be there, but they've lost Dylan in the meanwhile, while getting their Hanzo back into the fray of things, as it is looking good for the side of Forest Hills. They do lose Brain Drain, however. That's a lot of healing now gone from the side of Forest Hills. They're going to have to get some picks to counter out that loss of healing. They've lost their main tank, their tank as well, and Forest Hills does get some capture percentage going, but for not that long, as the rest of Winber are looking to capitalize and get this point in their favor with a nice Dragon Strike coming through from Garrett and taking out JB, and that should finally be Winber getting their point captured.
I mean, it's some wildly attentive support gameplay that we're seeing from Winber, not only with Veronica's revives, but also GG Man's awareness on when to do healing and when to do damage to contribute to these fights. So really good support line enabled Winber to retake that. They've already equalized percentage as well.
Yeah, they have indeed, as Bloodhound does have this Riptire, and they are going to start things off with said Riptire looking for a pick, but it is going to be Garrett picking that down, as the Goal Essence is there. So they are going to be able to get some picks into the favor of Forest Hills now. They need to get some more. They need to get rid of Andas on this Zarya. They do get the point flipped into their favor. Devo going down, however, to a headshot from Garrett on the Hanzo. But it should be the side of Forest Hills stabilizing for the time being.
Yeah, definitely, and especially since they're likely to get a couple of more eliminations here, but no elims have come in yet for Forest Hills. In fact, Winber's starting to swing things. Yes,
Winber swung things with that res coming in onto Garrett, and going to be able to get people back onto the point, and they're going to quickly get this point back into their favor without losing too many percentage points to Forest Hills.
And now Forest Hills is at an ultimate economy deficit. You see 5 brilliant little check marks here for Winber, not only maintaining a lead in objective progress, but also a monopoly over the ultimate economy. They've definitely been banking some of those. The first ult to come into this fight is the sound wave.
Well, that's going to be a huge combo coming through here. They only get one kill coming from it. They do get a response kill with the D.Va self-destruct, but right now it's all Winber in the kill feed, and it shows with the team kill as Dylan? Question mark?
Style points, I'm sure. Dylan just said, I have it, I'll go for it. Who needs Death Blossom anyways? It's just one of the best DPS ults in the game currently. But that's okay, Dylan's gonna be able to get another one here soon, especially if Force is able to retake control over this objective, which may very well be able to do with Riptire the Bloodhound is.
Well, Lingen is gonna go down super early, but that Death Blossom, that's the ultimate I was looking for, is gonna find 2 picks from Devo, as well as a nice vanilla kill onto Andas, as that's gonna get it back into the favor. It's up to 98% for Winber, however.
Yeah, and Bloodhound was able to maintain, or to keep hold of that Riptire there. Brain Drain's coming up on the Coalescence as well, so, you know, no excessively powerful abilities to speak of for Winber here as they look to push this point.
Yeah, as they're gonna start things off, looking to get something underway. The Riptire is gonna come through, but Devo is out of this fight. The Coalescence is there as well, but it's gonna be Bloodhound. Riptire gonna keep the point in the favor of Forest Hills, and but for how much longer is the real question, because Garrett and Andas are coming up with some ultimates of their own.
Yeah, we'll see if that Graviton Surge can be built in time. That is a legendary pick there from Mr. Gary onto Lingen. Lobs the Dragons right on the point. Wasn't even gonna wait for the grab.
As they're gonna start things off, Bloodhound does time Garrett out of this fight, which is going to be huge, but Bloodhound does pay for it with their life, and the res is going to be there as well. This should be Winver's fight to win, and they are going to win it, and no one's gonna be able to touch. And they take round 1 in a somewhat decisive fashion.
Impressive stuff from Winber there, and Forest Hills both. One of my favorite moments there definitely being Bloodhound's tire ripping and tiring until it is done. A triple kill off of that, and Dylan's Death Blossom was, I mean, massively impactful. Absolutely huge ultimate there. I'm sorry, Dylan. We like to have fun. I'm interested to see how dependent Winber is on this Grav Dragon combo, right? There in that last fight, Garrett just threw out the dragons without worrying about how close they were to Graviton Surge, which I think was the right call. They didn't really have the time to bank on that ultimate combo, but you know, if they're not pushed against a wall like that, you know, how easy will it be to counter with a defensive ult for Forest Hills?
Yeah, that is the question. That is the question indeed. But also is a question, what the heck is Reinhardt doing right now? But hey, it's still working out well. They've gotten the first pick, though, Forest Hills. And they're going to be able to be a little bit more aggressive thanks to the shield that they have now on the board. But it's still interesting nonetheless to see a Reinhardt in Overwatch 2 that if your name's not Hottie. But they have gotten a little over aggressive, and that's kind of why you don't see Reinhardt much anymore. You need to stay with your team, and when you get away from your team, you get killed immediately, and Winber capitalize and get the point into their favor.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to start putting progress on the board. They're working on generating their ultimates, although you know, no one really close enough to an ult to really make a massive impact in the early stages of this upcoming fight. So now for Forest Hills, it's just a matter of walking through this choke and getting Lincoln into a position where they can just swing away, or rather zap away, because now, for the first time today, we are getting to watch some Winton gameplay. Winton jump, Winton zap.
Winton nap. Winton nap. They're going to start things off. The jump comes through as Devo finding 2. The supports are gone out of this fight already. Lingen does fall down, however, but the overwhelming odds are in the favor of Forest Hills for the time being, as they are going to get that capture percentage into their favor now. Reaper of Dylan looking to find some work as they're going to pop the Death Blossom on point, and Brain Drain is going to go down. They're going to look to get some more kills in this fight. They do. They take out Devo. JB does come back with a pick onto Dylan, but right now it's looking good for the side of Winber to come back strong. Garrett by 3.
I mean, that's just absolutely insane. I really didn't think that Dylan would get away with such insane levels of aggression, but Andrus was there the whole time with bubbles on standby to mitigate any damage that anyone from Forest Hills tried to do onto Dylan when he was making those big plays. And so between Dylan's aggressiveness and Garrett's proclivity for this Hanzo, I think that Winber's in a really good spot for this next fight.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, especially with the pick already onto Veronica. The Primal Rage is going to be popped through, but Garrett with that Dragon Strike is going to find 2 and a lot of damage onto Lingen, and that's going to be a team kill coming through from Winber.
Yeah, and now you only have the Valkyrie left for Veronica for Winber. Meanwhile, there's a Riptire and a Coalescence to deal with from Forest Hills. Interestingly enough, we talk about the Grav Dragon combo. JB Bomble just came up on that sound barrier. Oh, but they aren't going to need it.
They aren't going to need it. They aren't going to need it. They only had to use those 2 ultimates to get this back in the favor. Devo with a nice Death Blossom on point. And it's up to 50% now, and it's still looking good for Forest Hills.
Bloodhound with the Riptire is going to be able to make something big happen in this impending fight, which is going to be really helpful for buying Forest Hills just a little bit more time here on this objective. Allow them to reach up to that 80-90% completion here.
But Dylan getting a pick, and then Garrett in the backline finding Brain Drain as well. They had to use the sound barrier because this is last fight. If they lose, they need something huge coming in from Bloodhound, and they need it quickly, but that does not seem to be the case. JB's trying to get out. It's up to 93% here, and it's not looking good. The Riptire needs to be huge, and it's gotta be massive. Can they find something? No, Garrett's gonna be able to take it out. Bloodhound super low. Brain Drain out of this fight. It looks to be all Winber. The Dragon Strike comes through. They are gonna be able to touch, but not for long, as the overtime bar ticks down as Winber takes map number 1.
Really good stuff from Winber to 2-0 Forest Hills there, which is off the back of, again, some really impressive DPS gameplay, some hyper-aware support gameplay, and also Angus on the Zarya making good use of one of the most broken heroes in the game. But hey, if it gets you the win, might as well play her. Still some really good signs of resistance that we got to see from Forest Hills. A DPS line no less spectacular than they were last year, and the supports and the tank line seem coordinated enough to get them some of these fight wins. So that's why that first map in particular was so very back and forth, and it's why heading into our next map, Watchpoint Gibraltar, I don't really expect things to change. I think that this is also going to be a map where both sides, both teams, Winber and Forest Hills, are constantly winning and losing these fights.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to be up to Forest Hills to keep Garrett in check yet again. This was going back to last year. Garrett was just this outstanding DPS player for Winber. They did get overmatched in the end when they had to face Forest Hills because of just having Flip Stingray and Kaede on that team from last year. But now, without those 2 superstars on Forest Hills to keep Garrett in check, it's got to be a full team effort coming in from Forest Hills. They can't let Garrett get going.
Yeah, and that's why we saw Lincoln be proactive about the tank that they were playing, right? We saw them go from the Diva to the Reinhardt to the Winston. Reinhardt to give the team a barrier to play around, offering some structure to the rest of the squad. And ultimately, when that didn't work, swapping onto the Winston so that maybe then they could dive onto Garrett and isolate that win condition here for Winber. Heading into the next map for Forest Hills, Lincoln is going to be free to play more of the Winston and Diva. You mentioned this this in the last match, Joker. But this is a fantastic map for both of those dive style tanks, and as long as you're not running the wrecking ball, who is just suffering right now, languishing under the state of the balance of the game, then you're going to get to see a lot of value out of these heavy engagement style dive tanks, and also the DPS as well. This is where Sojourn, Echo, Pharah, Tracer, Genji are all going to be really good as well. Even though it's not the same players on both of these teams, I'm excited to see some of the same heroes being adapted into these team-wide strategies.
Yeah, I really think we do need to see a Sojourn coming out from Forest Hills to deal. To maybe perhaps duo with Garrett on that Hanzo, and look at that. We're gonna get two broken two broken DPS players, DPS on the board for Forest Hills with Sojourn and Sombra. This is Sombra before anything has happened, because that patch is not happening until November. It is November, but mid-November.
Yeah.
So this should be good for the side of Forest Hills. They've got everything they need in place. Interesting enough is the pick of Sigma on the board for Lingen.
Oh yeah, I was even thinking about Sigma before we even loaded into the map, and how that might be a really good response to Garrett on the Hanzo. You've got the kinetic grasp, which can absorb those arrows and transform it into raw health. You got the barrier, and you've got a really nice stun ability as well. Dylan playing a little bit aggressive, no surprise, but they weren't killed out of that position. In fact, it's Bloodhound going down.
That's not what you want from your Sombra. You want to get them in your backline, hack up your tanks, get some form of that extra damage that comes out from when it's from a hack target. You need that, especially on Andos, who is on that Zarya, who just does so much damage. But Garrett's gonna find this first pick. JB's out of this fight. Garrett with another pick coming through. Both supports are out of this fight. You need to focus down this Hanzo immediately. He's just dismantling Forest Hills right now.
Well, you know, that and Dylan is also playing hyper aggressively on these angles. So, you know, even if you wanted to look at Garrett, you end up being forced to look at Dylan instead. Wasti Esports 6 playing the Reaper here. Quite troubling. And I'll tell you what's even more troubling is the fact that Garrett already has this Dragon Strike coming online.
Yeah, because you have to come in from one angle to get to this cart. So you're going to be walking into a Dragon Strike from Garrett here. But they've got to open something up. Diva swapped over to the Soldier, but there comes the Dragon Strike. Does not find the value though you wanted it to, and Diva with the pulse rifle finding a pick on to a couple of people now, as this should push the cart all the way through this underpass.
Really nice swap there onto the Soldier 76. I know that you and I have been clamoring for the Sojourn all day, but we've also seen the Soldier 76 working all day long. So for Devo to take up the rifle and the visor, not a bad idea. They've got a visor being generated now as well. Just got to watch out for Dylan and make sure you have a way to shut down the Death Blossom that they'll have online.
Yeah, as that's a huge hack. Sombra hacking Andos is going to be huge. Here comes the Death Blossom, however, not going to have the grasp any longer, and it's a 4-piece coming in from Dylan on the Reaper.
You know, earlier in the previous series, Joker, you and I talked about compartmentalizing Gibraltar into 2 fights, and that's kind of what we're seeing here for Forest Hills on their attack. You know, you get, I mean, it wasn't exactly 2 fights. There was a couple of, a little bit of a stall there on first point. Backup visor by Devo.
That's not, oh, it is.
It
is going to find value, but not enough value in the end, as the picks are going to be all in the favor of Winber in the end, as they're going to have to reboot for the time being, as Lingen's all alone and a Reaper right in his face. The Gravitic Flux is going to come out and find out Dylan. That's huge. The Nano Boost has on the Coalescence as well. It's going to be a lot of damage coming out from Brain Drain, as this could be opened up just because of this Moira, as Garrett's looking to try to turn it back. They've taken out Devo, but no one's going to be on the point, and they're going to be able to capitalize.
And Garrett and Veronica are just kind of isolated here in this room. I think the call here is just to die and get out. Yeah, Lincoln walking away with the 2 final blows, really good stuff. It cost quite a bit in order for Forest Hills to take that objective, but they managed to take it, which is really important.
And Dylan's going to get staggered out here as well, it seems.
Maybe. We've seen Dylan get out of some pretty hairy situations, but no, they die there.
Not enough of time is up. Garrett is back from spawn, however, because, well, they've already found a headshot kill onto Brain Drain. So that's going to start things off well for Winber to get a good stabilization on the second point here. Andas does have this Graviton Surge to use early on whenever they need to. The sleep is going to be there from JB, but they're not going to have any follow-up, and they're not going to even have to use the Graviton Surge, it seems. The hack is going to be there, but it's still all Winber right now.
Yeah, the EMP there used by Bloodhound, I think it was an effort to swing the fight in the favor of Forest Hills. Ultimately doesn't have the follow-up that it needed to, and honestly, there was way too much uptime on the side of Winber. Just means that Bloodhound can get back to the grindstone, get that ultimate being generated once again, and in the meantime, you're just going to be relying on Devo's Tactical Advisor to help open up the fight.
Yeah, as they are going to start things off now, and nice Dragons coming in from Garrett there, finds 2. It's getting it down as well. It's under 1 minute and 20 now for the side of Forest Hills.
I kind of go back to that Grab Dragon combo from Anjus and Mr. Gary, wondering how dependent Winber is on that, and if they are, they don't have an Ana in their lineup, so you can't Bionade your opponents. That's why JB Bommel now plays the Lucio here, but I honestly think that Zen might be a better call.
Well, goodness. Line 3 yet again with this Death Blossom. It's down to 50 seconds here. They've got this they've got a couple of ultimates coming on board here, Thief, and is it do they have the what it takes to get this point unlocked and get to this third point is the real question now.
Yeah, 100%. Again, with the ultimates that they have online, all they got to do is just live for a little bit longer and engage once the rest of Forest Hills is ready. But it's a little bit of a stagger fest right now with the Tactical Visor being deployed on the high ground, shut down by Garrett.
That's not what you wanted.
Oh, what? What was that shot? Check his PC! Check it, Joker!
What the heck was that, Garrett? As they find out the invisible Sombra mid-hack, Garrett is just going crazy on the Hanzo. 5 seconds to go, and no one's gonna be able to touch. Oh, they do get someone to touch. The Devo on the Reaper, as this is all but over. Devo going down. Garrett finding Lingen. It's just the Lucio left. They need some more. They need more quickly. The Coalescence is there, but immediately dealt with. The Dragon Strike on point to just keep everyone away, as that is going to be it. The overtime bar ticks down as round 1 is complete.
I mean, just absolutely massive shout out to our producer today, Joker, for being able to capture that wicked moment. That was... Yeah, I think I've officially lost my mind for the day. I just don't have much to say about that. When you're going up against a Hanzo who's that proficient with the arrows, and in the admittedly not busted state that Hanzo used to be in, that's just, that was mind-boggling to me. It wasn't a cheat for sure, because you barely saw it, Joker. It was off of the Sombra has little lines of visual whenever she goes for the hack, and so that's what Garrett had been able to read the positioning off of. But that's been something that I've struggled with in my comp games. Is it's impossible to tell from where Sombra is hacking you, and so just that was absolutely nutty, and it's definitely an encouragement for Bloodhound to swap onto the Sojourn, which I think is a phenomenal call. I think that the Sombra was still really good, but I think that just going for some heavy frontline pressure damage between Bloodhound and Devo, you're gonna have more than you need to burn down Anjus whenever they try to go for these dives, these engagements.
Yeah, another thing coming out from Forest Hills, we saw it work out well for Greater Johnstown. The Roadhog from Lingen has got to be something. Brain Drain also now opting for the Kirko. That's going to be interesting, but I mean, you've already lost. Bloodhound is not what you want to see if you are the side of Forest Hills looking for a very full hold. As that is just all Winber in the kill feed, as that's the team kill, but not a team kill.
No, I think there was one kill that was just a little bit too late, or one that was a little too early there. But still fight win here for Winber. Guys, you have to move the objective. Okay, there we go. Hey, getting it on the move through the valley here. That's your first of 2 compartmentalized fights, and we'll see if Winber is able to win the second consecutive one, or if Forest Hills is able to bounce back from this. A little bit of a swap on the support lineup, but they've already used the Immortality Field. It does manage to save Brain Drain.
Yeah, as Andas looking for some picks, and the turret is going to get the credit for the kill, but that was the work of Andas on the Winston. As they're going to push forward yet again. Dylan from the back looking for some picks of their own in this fight to continue. As the Torb Hammer, the hammer's out, the hammer's out! No, they didn't!
Oh, no.
As Garrett does to go down, as Brain Drain still looking to go all around, as they do get the capture of the point, but it does seem like Forest Hills have got the upper hand for the time being here, defense.
Yeah, really nice connections there from Brain Drain on the Baptiste anyways. I've always considered the 3-shot burst a little bit clunky, but Brain Drain's able to use it to generate this amplification matrix, which is going to be really helpful for letting Forest Hills build up the rest of these ultimates that they need to win these next several fights. Oh, that's bad though.
That's bad indeed, as the Molten Core is now out and about. The Primal Rage to get people off the high ground, and well, they're going to be able to get this very close. Dylan has the Death Blossom as well. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to touch now, though, as the Death Blossom's going to come. As anyone actually capable of touching, they're going to try getting there, as they will. Devo does get a pick onto Dylan, but it's still looking good for Winber. They've got everything they need, as they get... There's just one person left on the point. Devo trying to stagger as long as they can. There's the hammer kill. Garrett finishes it off with the hammer kill there, Ethan.
Unlucky when you get killed by the hammer, but definitely a deserved win here for Winber against Forest Hills this afternoon, and this kind of helps to solidify Winber as, you know, one of the teams to beat this season, right up there with Holidaysburg. And, you know, the performance here today from Forest Hills doesn't mean that they're also not one of those top contenders. They've had a good season so far, and everyone has an off day every once in a while. This just didn't end up being the matchup for Forest Hills. Maybe also because of the maps. I know I typically perform a lot better on certain maps than I do others. Still, really good stuff that we got to see from both teams today. Again, that triple kill with a rip tire from Bloodhound was really fun to watch. But Winber, again, with a deserved victory over their opponent this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a great stuff all around. Garrett on that Hanzo has continuously just been so good throughout the time we've seen them play it. And it's all looking up from here. I can't wait to see Winber versus Holidaysburg. That V-Snipes matchup versus Garrett is going to be intense whenever that is going to happen. But for now, that is really about it. Ethan, do you have anything else to say?
Just that, you know, to make sure to follow us here on twitch.tv/the esports company, also TEC high school group, so you guys can stay notified of all the games, of all the titles that we do here at the esports company, including Rocket League and Valorant, as well as Overwatch, which is going to be every Wednesday starting at 3:30 p.m. EDT, and that way you can stay up to date with all the teams, all the amazing players that we've gotten to watch so far this season.
Yeah, so that's it about it. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.